Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to the Naughties. So, previously, ladies and gentlemen, I spent a long time in discussing about the sort of provoking but very motivating stigma of Free Grace's pain. And I say all of this because, in retrospect, looking back on what I used to be and who I am now, I feel like a very different sort of beast. And I feel honestly that maybe there may be something to be said about that, but there's a big difference between the person I was, the person I am now, and the person I am going to be. So let's see how 3 days grace. I did not realize, ladies and gentlemen, how much. Not only am I getting a kick of just talking this much about the sort of material, but the fact that 3 days grace is that it's that they have so much else to give. It's like I'm gonna say now. This is gonna be a very bizarre thing to say, but it feels like it's like the Rush of the 2000s, because Rush, and I love them as well, but a lot of their thing kind of falls into the bands you knew about during the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and the early 2010s. But this has its own following. It has its own. But then again, following is probably the way to put it. But with all that being said and done, let's go. Animal I Have Become. It really should be the animal I have become, but oh well.
So many times I've lied, but there's still rage inside. Somebody get me through this nightmare. I can't control myself. So what if you can see the darkest side of me? No one will ever change this animal I have become. Help me believe it's not the real me. Somebody help me take this animal I have become. Help me believe it's not the real me. Somebody help me take.
It's the age-old question, ladies and gentlemen, of not knowing your own strength, and sometimes it is in moments of like sheer panic and lunacy is when you could do some terrible, terrible things, ladies and gentlemen, when you for temporarily lose your sense of self-control. But here's the thing, is that I often interpreted like scenes where you see people go absolutely berserk, and and like, you know how they all scream whenever these happen? I often attributed to the fact that it's actually quite against human nature to drop or to physically like remove sentiments of control, because you should have control. You should be able to keep your emotions under control. You should be able to know what you're doing at all times, every single day, that every second you are alive. But sometimes I also like to interpret this as that it's the only way that can actually drown out any sort of noise in your head saying, it's drowning out your conscience in thinking that the only thing that it's like, I suppose the only other way to put this is that, you know, in God of War 3, when basically the entire story of the game is Kratos shredding whatever humanity he had left in favor of his revenge, and that if anything got in his way would be collateral damage. That's kind of what this is that it's attempting to show a complete lack of remorse for all the carnage you do. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of other things that happen that you're not really supposed to empathize with Kratos by like halfway into the game when you've beaten Hercules. It's not really that sort of thing. But I think that it's when that moment, all that rage ends, and you begin to see the sort of havoc you have unleashed. Does it really make it worth it? Well, that's not really for me to say, but it depends on, well, it depends basically if people, completely innocent people, get caught in the crossfire, if that makes sense. And all that I have become.
Help me believe it's not the real me. Somebody help me take this animal I have become. Help me believe it's not the real me. Somebody help me take this animal. This animal I have become.
Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, these songs, like, I think, you know why I think they just sound like they're getting better and better, is that, being older, I can understand everywhere they come from. I understand, I mean, it's not that I couldn't have understood this before, but I feel like it's when you experience just a little bit more of life, when you get and I say experience life as in you get a little bit older, and that's the staying power of stuff like 3 Days Grace, is that it's not just about what you were, but it's also in retrospect about what you remember about who you were. That's a different tale altogether, and it can only be experienced by looking back, but not in anger, but in consideration later. I think this is what they it's called character development. It's where you establish a character, you send them on their journey, you learn more about them through their journey, through trials and tribulations, and finally they emerge out the other end as what? Who knows? And certainly, well, I think that just says it all, because the story's not quite over yet now, is it? And with all that being said and done, I hope all of you guys enjoyed Animal I Have Become by 3 Days Grace, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.